Clemson ahead of Wisconsin based on what so far this season? Greg, I agree with you. Good tweet. Chris George says, at Joel Klatt, any chance that OU gets in the top 3 spots if they beat Texas and run the table with an undefeated season? Well, yeah, Chris. What do you think? They're going to be like 10th? I mean, if they're undefeated, the lowest that they could possibly be is what, 3? So let's just play it out, okay? So in this scenario, I'm assuming you're thinking a lot of teams run the table, and then where would OU's resume fit within, let's call it 4 teams run the table. Okay, so in the Power 5, the Pac-12's kind of out, and then you've got Clemson could run the table, OU could run the table, Alabama, let's call it, maybe even Georgia, so one of the SEC teams, and then Ohio State or even Penn State out of the Big Ten. OU's resume, I think, would finish no worse than 3rd at that point. I think if Ohio State or Penn State run the table in the Big Ten, they would likely be ahead of Oklahoma. If Alabama or Georgia or LSU run the table in the SEC, their resume would likely put them above Oklahoma. If Clemson runs the table, their resume would absolutely not put them above Oklahoma. The ACC is trash. The fact that the Wake Forest Demon Deacons and Virginia Cavaliers are ranked right now is a travesty. I mean, they are really bad. The entire league is absolutely garbage. I went through the Big Ten teams that would finish no worse than 2nd in that conference. You can go the same list with the SEC. You can go the same list with the Big 12. There's 4 or 5 Big 12 teams. There's 6 or 7 SEC teams. The ACC is garbage. Worst conference in the country by far. You just have a great team in Clemson. And how great is it this year? I'm not sure, because they have not played great. Certainly they didn't play great against North Carolina. So Chris, to answer your question, what's the lowest Oklahoma would finish if they run the table? I believe it's 3. So your question is, do they have a chance to be in the top 3 if they have an undefeated season? Absolutely, and in fact, I would expect it. So there you go, Chris. Good question. I didn't even have to get snarky, except for against the ACC. The ACC is garbage this year. All right, what do we got? This one says, Joel, after covering Iowa today, do you think they have a shot in the West, or is Wisconsin going to steamroll? I think Wisconsin is better than Iowa. Wisconsin has a singular better player in Jonathan Taylor. They have a faster defense, and what I saw against Michigan concerned me about their offensive line and their ability to pick up pressure, and that's exactly what Wisconsin will do. So I'm concerned for Iowa in the West. Are they still a decent team? Yeah. They would finish 2nd in the ACC. Certainly. Okay, let's keep it going here. This one, Royal Pain. You are a Royal Pain. At Joel Klatt, Taylor over Tua is just plain silly. I'm guessing that Royal Pain is referring to my Heisman rankings. Yes, I did deliver on social this week my top 10 rankings in Heisman. And let me first answer your question and then just quickly talk about the Heisman rankings in general. Taylor over Tua is just plain silly. Well, I think that you could also say that. Let's say I agree with you. Couldn't you also say that in reverse? Tua over Taylor is silly from a Wisconsin fan if I were to do that. Here's what I mean. The top 4 players in the Heisman rankings are interchangeable at this point. They really are. Tua has been sensational, 23 touchdown passes. Well, Jonathan Taylor has been sensational. He leads the country in scrimmage touchdowns. Joe Burrow has been sensational. His offense has totally transformed to the point where they're leading the country in offense. Jalen Hurts leads the country in yards per action play. So where do you want me to put him? Like, I just disagree with the notion that it's silly. Okay, if Jalen was 4th and Tua was 1, I'd get the same tweet about having Jalen behind Tua is silly. Yeah, like, you guys are all kind of right, but then you're not. Because throwing the hyperbole of silly on there, it's like, just say don't agree. I don't agree with Taylor over Tua. And then we can be like, oh, okay, that was a meaningful comment. To say like, oh, it's silly. It's like, look at how tough I am. Royal Pain on my keyboard. I think that's stupid. I think that was a stupid tweet. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here. College Football on Fox.